Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Juniara and I'm from class 4A. And my last student ID number is 020. Okay, so in this video I want to retelling a novel which is my batch 4 novel. The title is A Question of Blood. So, without any further ado, let's get to the story. The story takes place in Edinburgh, Scotland, and follows Detective Inspector John Rebus, an experienced detective who investigates a tragic school shooting. The story begins on day 1 at Port Edgar Academy, a school near Edinburgh. A former soldier named Lee Herdman is found dead inside the school's recreation room along with 2 students, Anthony Jervis and Derek Renshaw. Another student, James Bell, survives with a gunshot wound to his shoulder. Because Herdman is found with the gun, everyone immediately believes that he is responsible for the tragedy. And then the police think the case is already solved. However, Rebus is not fully convinced. He feels that there are still many unanswered questions. Together with his colleague, Detective Sergeant Siobhan Clark, Rebus begins interviewing witnesses and collecting evidence. While investigating the school shooting, Rebus also becomes involved in another case connected to Martin Firestone, a local businessman. Not long after meeting Rebus, Firestone dies in suspicious house fire. This tragedy creates another problem because a reporter named Steve Holly starts suggesting that Rebus may somehow be involved in Firestone's death. Even though there is no evidence against him, Holly keeps questioning Rebus and creates suspicion around him. Despite the pressure, Rebus continues his investigation as the case develops. Rebus discovers that the Herdman had a connection with a teenage girl named Terry Cotter. Herdman had given Terry a computer, and they had communicate online. Because of this unusual relationship, Rebus and Siobhan decide to investigate further. At first, they don't know whether Herdman was trying to help Terry or whether there was something more suspicious going on. Then, Rebus becomes interested in Herdman's military past. He learns that years earlier, Herdman had survived a helicopter crash on the island of Juniara. Believing that his event may be important, Rebus travels to Juniara to learn more about Herdman's background. There, he realized that Herdman had been carrying secrets and emotional burdens from his time in military. And then, the more Rebus investigates, the more he doubts that Herdman was simply a school shooter. Meanwhile, Terry Cotter is interviewed by the police and reveals several surprising secrets. She explains her connection with Herdman and also reveals that her mother had a secret relationship, which is cheating, with Doug Primson, a successful businessman and pilot who had known Herdman in the past. At this point, Rebus realized that the case is becoming much more complicated. The school shooting, Herdman's military past, Martin Firstone's death, Terry Cotter, and Doug Primson all seem connected somehow. As the investigation continues, Rebus questions Evil Bob, a close associate of Peacock Johnson, a local criminal connected to Firstone's case. Soon after that, the forensic team re-examines the evidence from the school shooting. This becomes the biggest turning point in the story. The forensic results show that James Bell's statement doesn't match the evidence. James had claimed that Herdman shot him while he was trying to escape, but the true evidence proves that James was actually shot from a much closer distance, like this. Rebus and Bobby Hogan immediately go to James Bell's house to confront him. Finally, James admits the truth. He confessed that he, James Bell, killed Anthony Jarvis and Derek Renshaw using Herdman's gun. According to James, after he shot the two boys, Lee Herdman entered the room and saw what had happened. James handed him the gun, and unexpectedly, Herdman used it to take his own life. After that, James shot himself in the shoulder and pretended to be another victim so that everyone would believe Herdman was responsible. This confession shocks everyone because Lee Herdman had been blamed for crimes he did not commit. At the same time, Siobhan continues investigating Doug Brimson. She visits him at his private airfield and questions him about his connections to the case. During their conversation, Brimson admits that illegal drugs had been hidden on Lee Herdman's boat to make Herdman look guilty. He had used Herdman's name to cover up his own criminal activities. However, when Brimson realized that Siobhan is getting too close to the truth, he attacks her. Fortunately, Siobhan managed to escape. Meanwhile, Rebus and Hogan discover that Peacock Johnson has been storing illegal weapons connected to criminal activities. Eventually, Peacock Johnson is arrested. Later, Rebus noticed a small plane flying dangerously through the sky. He realized that Doug Brimson has escaped using his aircraft, and he becomes terrified because he thinks Siobhan might still be with him in the small plane. As Rebus watches helplessly, the plane loses control and crashes. For a moment, Rebus believes that Siobhan has died. Thankfully, he later discovers that Siobhan is safe because Brimson had left alone before the crash. Brimson dies in the accident. By the end of the novel, the truth is finally revealed. James Bell was responsible for the deaths of Anthony Jarvis and Derek Renshaw, and then Lee Herdman was innocent of the school shooting, even though everyone had blamed him from the beginning of the story. And then Doug Brimson used Herdman's boat to hide illegal activities, and Peacock Johnson was arrested for his crimes. Although the mystery is solved, the story teaches us that we should not judge people too quickly, too early, because the truth is often very different from it first appears. In the end, Rebus success in uncovering the truth, but some questions about Lee Herdman's past and the reasons behind his decision to end his own life remain unanswered. So I think that is the end of Question of Blood novel. If you love the video, you can like, you can comment, and subscribe this channel. Okay, see you in another video. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Thank you.